police look for the killers of Michael Wacholtz, found murdered inside of a Jeep Cherokee, and of Jason Galehouse, whose body parts were placed in trash bins and spread out across the city of Tampa Bay. Investigators will uncover an underworld of torture and bondage, a reality so shocking that life in Tampa Bay was never to be the same again.
The type of crimes that took place in Tampa rock any person to the core because of the savageness, the sheer brutality.
Memorial Highway, Town and Country Boulevard. A passerby makes a grisly discovery. A lifeless body wrapped in a bed sheet inside of a Jeep Cherokee at the Catman Bay Point Apartments. Police quarantine the area to gather evidence. When the coroner examines the body, he is unable to identify it due to the severe state of decomposition. However, the registration of the vehicle comes back to Michael Wacholtz of Tampa Bay.
During initial investigations, upon conducting interviews with family and friends, it was determined that Galehouse and Wacholtz frequented the same clubs, although they had never met. However, as events unfolded, they were inevitably tied.
Wacholtz was found apparently murdered, but Jason Galehouse remained missing. Flyers, posters, and billboards were placed across the city of Tampa. A bank account opened to offer a reward. A website was posted so anyone could remain anonymous and still come up with a lead. One thing was sure, both Galehouse and Wacholtz left their homes that weekend, headed for the 2606 nightclub.
Upon searching for Jason, we put up signs, missing persons, pictures and posters, and we put about 12 in the vicinity of where Jason went missing from at the bar. And every day we went back, the posters were taken down. And when we found out that 2 other guys had went missing from the same bar, it made us even more upset that the community was never made aware.
Nobody seemed to see him leave with anybody. That's what was the horriblest part. Nobody knew nothing. Somebody had to have seen something.
But if anyone did see something, they remained quiet. It was not uncommon for someone to get by unnoticed at the 2606. Dark corners and underlit spaces were designed to potentially conceal the identity of the attendees. In part, that is what made it such a popular hangout. Jason Galehouse told his friends he was leaving with 2 individuals, but no one could identify them.
The 2606 nightclub is known to be a leather bar, and that's where these types of things originate. That's where these type of things starts, the torture and the bondage and what have you. It starts in places like this. It's very easy to not notice someone in there because it's so dark, and there is a lot of people that are in there at one time.
Since Jason and Wacholtz were last seen at the 2606, investigators interview the bouncers and owners, but they are unable to come up with any valuable leads. But family, friends, and employers knew it was out of character for Galehouse to disappear without any prior notice.
Bar 2606, which at the beginning we were told that this was a cold case, that the detective stated to us, no one at the bar saw who your friend left with. Nobody has any information. There's nowhere we can really go with this investigation because nobody knows anything from the bar. It was all stated that everyone stated that it was dark and they didn't see who Jason left with.
Jason Galehouse had graduated from the Manatee College and transferred up to Tampa to study interior design at the Hillsborough Community College. 2 months prior, he had been living with his mother in Sarasota, a seemingly peaceful life, and working part-time at a local flower shop.
Painting my wall. The phone rang, and it was his roommate, John. And he said, I just wanted to know if Jason is down there with you. And I said, no, why? he says, well, I don't want to alarm you, but he's been missing for 3 days. Well, right away the horns went up, mother's intuition. And I was just, the horror that just went right through my body, oh my God, because this just isn't Jason. He just doesn't take off, not go to work or anything like that. He just doesn't, it's just not his character. I knew something had to happen.
The media in Tampa began a pounding campaign and rallied behind Pamela Williams, who was relentless in her efforts to find her son, or at least find out what had happened to him, or whether his disappearance was in any way connected to Michael Wacholtz's mysterious murder. The local police examined Galehouse's laptop and phone records in hopes of a lead, but none were found in them. The residents of Tampa Bay demanded for answers, and the authorities in charge were beginning to feel the heat.
We had a small team put together throughout the family that we went out and put posters up in Tampa, and that's when we found our first lead. That we went to a bar manager and asked him if we could put a picture of our friend that was missing, and he stated that he had knew someone that was talking in the bar that he had left with 2 guys and had escaped.
Chacho, as he was known by the locals, was a street-smart male hustler. He used to frequent the local bars and nightclubs around the Tampa Bay area and its surroundings.
We drove around the streets of Tampa late 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning until we were determined to find this guy. It was any lead for us at this point. We find the guy, we put him in the back of our car, we convince him to tell us his story.
According to Chacho, he made arrangements in an internet chat room to meet with 2 individuals at the parking lot of a well-known supermarket. They proposed to give him money in exchange for sexual favors, and he had agreed to go with them to Lorenzo's house.
Come on. You can set the place. Pretty sweet, man.
At the beginning, when Chacho arrived with the 2 men, everything seemed fine. But as time passed, Chacho became suspicious of the 2 men. Their demeanor began to change. They appeared to become tense and showed signs of aggression. Chacho, realizing his mistake, attempts to leave Lorenzo's home. But he was soon deprived from leaving and forced to come through with his part of the bargain.
So evidently he was offered money to make like a sex tape or some kind of tape, so he went with him. He was a prostitute or a hustler on the streets.
According to Chacho,